You ready, brother? I'm rolling.
Yeah, I'm ready. How are you?
Off, man. I'm good. What do you got going on over there?
Nothing much. Today probably I have a couple of days off, so I'll go to my dad's house and help him out. You know, he's older, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
People want to know who
How are you?
are. Lakmal Antony or Anthony, however you want to say it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
call
didn't
you
want to know what.
the Loch Ness Monster. So what I want to go over today with you is something I've been wanting to go over for a long time on the podcast. I think you're the perfect dude to do it with. Let me shut this down. It's basically the struggles of maintaining, your weight. And I think a lot of people go through this, especially in the world of fitness, or I don't care if you're obese, you're thin, whatever the case may be. But what I want to get into is a couple different things regarding this. It's not just about people that are heavy having struggles to lose weight. I don't think a lot of people recognize a lot of people that are thin that are also trying to gain weight that can't hold any weight either. Because I kind of went through that as well.
Yeah.
But besides that, I also think you're the perfect person to go through this subject matter with me because of what, over the years since I've known you, usually we're in two places. We're either in Little Italy eating, San Diego, or we're at a gym. And right?
Yeah, it's true.
And I would say most of the time, a lot of times we discuss weight because I think both of us, our weight does fluctuate when we see each other, and we don't see each other all the time. But when we do, it can weigh 20 pounds. In your case, I've seen you at 180, 250, over 300. So every time we see each other, even if it's once a year, we both kind of look different each time we see us. It's almost a surprise to one another. Right?
That's true. Yeah, that's pretty true. Yeah.
So, like in the last, month and a half, I lost 20 pounds now. You probably don't reckon, like I'm usually not this thin, right?
Yeah. You're a little beefier.
No, I'm thinner, you piece of shit. Anyways, I got up to like 215 again. Now I'm 190 because we went on a cruise and blah, blah, blah. But now, when I was talking to you on the phone the other day, let's kind of discuss what you've gone through in your life as far as wanting to get bigger at times, then getting too big, then trying to lose weight, having a problem doing that, your diet and all those things. So,
well, it's a good start. Well, so when I met you, 2012, right around that time,
probably.
That's when I was like really, really good in shape. So what the best part of that was I think I had more time, right? So I think also I knew what I wanted to be as far as my fitness goals. I just wanted to be really, really, really functionally fit. So I was running 3 miles a day, and then I was still hitting the gym 2 hours doing CrossFit. So crazy amounts of dedication and time. Then I was eating mostly paleo. So at the time I had I could do it. And then also Joel, that he's a big portion of the reason my fluctuation of weight. So
right.
I think a special needs kid is, as they grow older, the amount of time you have to dedicate to just their care, it can be just a one person thing. I mean, it's so encompassing. Plus we have two other kids. So when I first met you, it was just me and him. He was about 2 or 3 at the time, so he was relatively easy to take care of.
You want to tell people what kind of happened with your son? They understand kind of you're in a different level of raising this child than a lot of us. So
Oh yeah, definitely. So Joel was born healthy, baby boy, no problem. He was around 7 pounds plus, very good. No complications, nothing. And then around 6 weeks, we realized he got bacterial meningitis, so we had to take him to the hospital. And then life just changed from there. Everything was different, So because of that, Joel and I had to reconsider how we lived our life. So after he got sick, we were in the hospital for about a total of 9 months. So I really didn't get to raise my child till he was out of the hospital, which was sometime later.
Right.
So yeah, and then at that time I was very heavy. By the way, I was probably 270 pounds.
Mm.
When I had him, I gained more weight, as you can imagine. So then started the 2 weeks, not 2 weeks, sorry, 2 years of working. I have to say possibly about 14 to 16 hours a day. So
Yeah.
mom stayed at home. His birth mom stayed at home. So the biggest thing I would say is that it was just you know, I had to reset everything. So with his mom and I didn't work out. So at that time, usually what happens when you break up, you get in shape. So I did that, and that's around the time I met you. Now Joel's needs just kept escalating. He's about a 10-month-old, 8 to 10-month-old mentally. He's now 11.
Okay.
So we're responsible for every part of his care, from eating, feeding,
Sure.
bathing, everything. But then also all his medications, his seizures. He has an oximeter he has to take everywhere with him. So those
Mm-hmm.
stresses add up. So fitness is just, it's really hard until you, until you really can make the time for it.
Sure.
And on top of that, things change. So around the time I met you, no problem. I was already in amazing shape. Um, and then I just Joel got bigger, and then at the time I met my wife, and who I'm with now, and she had 2 kids. So instant Brady Bunch, family of 5. So um, I maintained my weight probably for about 2 years, even through a relationship. You know, and then after we got married, that's when Joel's condition started to worsen. He had broken a leg, because he has very fragile bones. So that dictated a lot of how we tried to take care of him. Because now, after that broken leg, he has a spica cast, which is basically hip down cast, where it looks like a X because both your legs are joined by a bar. So it's crazy. Um, and that changed everything. Then also I was commuting a lot, so kind of summarize things. I ballooned up. I think I right now I'm probably the heaviest I've ever been, but up till about a week ago, because I've lost 10 pounds. But um, and I've also noticed that as you get older, it's really hard to take the weight off. In your
Mm.
20s versus your early 30s, I don't know what happens. There's a switch, but I can't lose 10 pounds overnight like I used to. I could drop 10, 15 pounds in a day or two. Now it's just like, good luck.
Really?
So, yeah, I think my metabolism, my metabolism's not as good as yours. So, you know, but yeah, so that's the biggest challenge I've had, is just time. Um,
Right.
and I think also motivation. I don't think people clearly understand the mental state you have to be in to completely um, to maintain your weight, right? I think it has to be a psychological thing. You have to value it, and I think I just lost my value. So every time I would try, I'd go 2 weeks. I'm like, all right, I'm killing it. I'm losing weight. I'm feeling good, and then just peter out because I didn't really value where I was before. I think now, I'll admit this, but I had really bad migraines about a week ago. It
Mm.
really shocked me. The doctor basically said, look, you're 33, about to be 34. Um, you're over 300 pounds. You're going to college full time. You're a father of 3. You know, you're stressed out, and your weight's probably the reason that your migraines are getting worse.
Mm.
And it scared me. So, now I'm a lot more cognizant last week and a half of what I eat. I do yoga every morning for 30 minutes, stretch out my joints. Mentally, I de-stress better. I've turned off all social media. Um, I read a lot more. So I've begun to see that my health is a long-term value proposition, and I really started investing in that. So kind of coming down to value. These last 5 years, I really have not put my health as a priority. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think what I've been doing a lot of podcasts with people that have lost weight. So I had Amber on there. She was 300 pounds, went down
I
to
saw that.
130, right? Then I did
Yeah,
Mike
yeah, yeah.
Mango. I did my buddy Mike Mango, who was over 300 pounds. He's down to like 185. And everyone,
Awesome.
yeah, everyone loves the success story.
Yeah.
And in your situation, I wanted to get somebody on who's truthful and somebody I can talk to about this, because a lot of people, no matter what they say, when they're at their heaviest or at the point where maybe
Yeah.
they're not their most comfortable, they don't want to talk about it. The last thing they want
That's
to
true.
be is exposed, publicly especially.
Yeah.
But me and you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
always had an honest relationship.
For
And
sure.
I'm outside, it's a little windy out here.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah. So when I was talking to you, even on the phone, I kept thinking, you're the one person I know that has battled a lot of things in life, at your home life, personally, and in the gym, and with your weight,
Yeah.
right? I mean, let's
Yeah.
call it for what it is. And there's a lot of people out there like you. Some
Yeah, for
people,
sure.
if they get stressed out, some people lose weight. Like when my daughter had a liver transplant, I was like 250 pounds for
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the first month, first year of her life. We were in and out of hospitals, but once she officially had her transplant, I must have went into shock. I dropped to like 195 pounds. So in a
I remember you
couple
telling me about that.
months, yeah, I lost so much weight, where other people, when I know they get stressed, maybe they gain a lot of weight, right? So
That's me.
yeah. And, back to people have to understand too, everything they do in their life, there's a reason behind them gaining weight or losing weight, but for everybody else, for everyone, it's a different journey, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So none of us have the same
It does,
genetics.
yeah.
None of us have the same lifestyle. I think when we
No,
see
no,
somebody
that's true.
overweight, we're like, truthfully, a lot of us are like, look at this guy, this overweight fat ass. Or whatever. Look at this guy. Like, somebody who's too thin. Oh my goodness, they're kind of anorexic. Do they even eat? No
Yeah.
matter, people don't want to say that publicly, but a lot of people think
Yeah.
that. I don't care who you
Right.
are, right?
Yeah.
And then if you're
Right.
super fit, let's go that route. You're like, oh, he's on steroids. Oh, I bet he's got no life. Or that's all he does. All he
Yeah.
does is diet. No matter what shape you're in, people, I think, a lot of times judge you harshly. If you're too fit,
Absolutely.
people want to bash you, right? Or if you're
Yeah.
too thin, if you're too heavy, they're kind of bashing you,
Yep.
right? No matter what,
Either
sometimes,
way.
either way. You just got to find your own personal happiness. But
Yeah.
in your case, because you were training at different times to do
Yeah.
things for shows and things, because
Yeah.
you were taking it very serious, even when I was with you, even your diets, because you
Yep.
were taking that very hardcore.
Yep.
What was you? So you're very big and strong still, I'm sure. Did you want to get into powerlifting? Did you want to start doing Tough Mudders? I can't remember. Or were you in the bodybuilding? What was it?
I did a lot of CrossFit competitions, which is great because that's right around the time CrossFit was really at its peak. And then also I did Olympic lifting, so I was doing like the power cleans and like the snatch, and I was doing back squats, front squats. But I wasn't really at a competitive level at the point. The crazy thing is, you don't lose that strength if you
Mm-hmm.
start. If you do a bicep curl, right, and you don't work out a bicep curl for years, it goes away. But if squats, I can still get under a bar and get right at 400 pounds without ever having worked out for a year, which is crazy. And you know me, astrographs the whole way, everything. But you don't lose that strength. So yeah, I was really working on a lot of functional fitness and just training. And then towards the latter part, when I was right around the time I got married, I was bulking up because I just wanted to get bigger because I was 180, 85, 188, something around there. But I was really lean, and I wanted to
Yeah.
have just I'm mostly legs. I'm all legs, really, and my upper body hasn't been that strong. I mean, especially compared to you. So I was just trying to pack on some weight. So I got up to like 215, and I was huge. I was eating 6,000 calories a day. I was still doing cardio, a 1 hour of cardio. It was just so much work.
Yeah.
So I think that probably had something to do with burning out. Um,
Yeah.
And kind of coming back to your point, you were talking about how we judge, and I can tell you, I'll be honest, to this day, if I see someone who's like in really good shape, right, my instant go, oh my god, look at they have no legs. That's the first thing I'll look at, because I'm like, how are they training? Are they training just to look good and in a t-shirt, or are they actually looking like, hey, I can have a whole rounded package? Because everything I do in life, for the most part, I look at like a wholesome way of doing it, right? Whether if it's I'm going to cook something, or if I'm going to build something, or if I don't know, I just try to be a kind of a holistic kind of person, for mental health, whatever. But yeah, I still judge people, and I will be the first one to admit that. I mean, subliminally, I'm very empathetic if someone talks to me. But even to me, I can be very judgmental. I think the place where I'm really empathetic to people is people with disabilities. Because of you would be surprised at how much people discriminate against people with disabilities. Even to this day, you wouldn't think that's happening in 2020, but it's pretty bad. You take a kid around with a disability in a wheelchair, people always go, oh, there's either two reactions. There's either, oh, how cute, or something like that, or it's, oh, they're almost like disgusted, like you exist in this world, which is crazy, but it does exist. So I mean, we all judge in our own ways, but there's good and bad. There's, oh, okay, I'm concerned about this person. They're 450 pounds in a cart at Walmart, right? I'm concerned for that person. Or that's probably should be working out his legs more. So,
Yeah,
all
I get
right,
it.
I went off on a tangent there, but yeah.
No, I get it. And I
Yeah.
think we all
Yeah.
first
So,
start judging, we grow up judging ourselves, I think, in the family
yeah.
environments we're in, and also where we grow up. Say you, for instance, you're in Southern California,
Yeah.
right? And when me and you used to hang out in
Oh,
Carlsbad,
yeah.
I love working out at LA Fitness Oceanside. I love Encinitas, or
Yeah.
if I'm
It's a
in
great
San
one.
Diego. And the
Yeah.
reality is that's so much different than, say, a gym I worked out with in Florida that was more into, say, powerlifting guys or football guys, right? Because in
Mm-hmm.
Southern Cal, you got like kind of the Navy SEALs, Marines, CrossFit, guys getting ready for
Yes.
their marathons, triathletes,
Right.
or all these. That's a different environment. Then all of a sudden I go to Chicago, that's a different environment. But I really believe like I call it reverse anorexiaism. I talk about it all the time in a podcast. No matter how big I got, it was never big enough. And because
Yeah.
a lot of my relatives and even friends were all just so much bigger than me, I was always a runt. So I was always striving to get bigger. And I think a lot of people that I have cousins that are heavy, they were always striving to get thinner. I'm just using these
Yep.
for an example. But
No, I get it. Yeah.
we carry those things as we get older too. And we
Yeah.
judge people maybe too harshly, because say we get to the point where I did get bigger and I got stronger. And then if someone's smaller, you're like, hey, get your head out of your ass, build some muscle, right? Get
Yeah.
stronger.
Yeah.
We even,
Yeah.
and if you're too heavy, hey, like if I'm with you, I'll be like, listen, fat ass, lose some weight over here. It's, I think it's an honest approach. I mean,
Yeah.
I get that sometimes I don't have a filter, and I mean it to be a fun type, and I want to
Oh
inspire
yeah,
people.
you always are.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, I may be saying things to people just like my family members used to say to me, hey, toothpick legs or pee-pee arms or, bird
Yeah.
legs. That
Yeah.
shit affects us. And a lot of
Yeah.
us
It does.
pretend it doesn't, but it does.
Oh no,
That
it
goes
does.
for,
It does.
it really does.
Yeah.
And, in your case, you living in Southern California, I know even when me and you were hanging out in San Diego, it can be
Mm-hmm.
an incentive to kind of kick you in the ass to say, yeah, everybody here really does live a different lifestyle and is in shape.
Right.
And maybe
Yeah.
overdoing it at times to kind of keep up. But then at the same time, if you can't keep up, kind of quitting and saying, man, this place is just too much for me. I can't. It's
Yeah.
overwhelming how everything is so health driven, I guess you could say. Did you fall into that category, you think, Lack?
Oh, totally. And I think especially with Instagram and social media coming out,
Sure.
I felt that fear of missing out, and I needed that. You know, I'm a social guy just like you. And part of us feeds off being around people. That admonishment of just talking to someone and getting, hey, you look great. good job. That's part of the thing that drives you to be in shape. And I do definitely feel the pressure here, but I would say that even more so with Instagram and Facebook. I would take pictures like with my shirt off, or I would take like flexing pictures, or I would take mostly whole body shots when I was in great shape. That's completely changed. Now I'll maybe do a face picture with my chest. I hate being in a whole picture because I'm just like, oh my God, I hate seeing myself like that, and it's terrible. And I don't know, part of me, like I look back, so as you know, when you first met me, I was like super religious, I was super like, going to church, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that also affects my mental state because as I left the church and all these different things, I realized that that's another reason you'll never be good enough, right? It's kind of in the book for me, so that didn't really help. So my self-love is terrible. I'm probably I will always be harder on myself than anyone else. I'll be like, oh, you piece of shit. Like I always think.
Yeah. You're beating
You'll never be
yourself
good. So
up a
that kind of
lot.
translated. Exactly. That kind of translated into my actual like fitness life too. So, now I'm finally on that mental state where I'm like, okay, I'm going to stretch. I'm going to be, I'm still really flexible for a big guy. I'm still really strong, even though I can just pick up a 90-pound sack of concrete the other day at Home Depot like it was a toothpick. I'm like, oh, that's fine. And the guy's looking at me like, are you okay? Do you need help? Like, I went to Costco a couple weeks ago, and I had this gigantic box. It was so long. It was probably like 6 foot by 4 feet, 6 by 3.
Right.
And 2 people had to escort me out to the parking lot. And I was like, oh, no, I got it. They're like, sir, we have to do it. It's part of the policy. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
I just, while they were turning around, I put it next to the pickup truck, and I just picked it up and threw it in the bag. And they're like, are you okay? It was 150 pounds. But, when you build yourself up, you can do it. And I'm only 33, so in my mind, I'm still 21,
Right.
So, look, and you don't change. Kind of coming back to your point, though. Sorry, I would say that I think absolutely being in Southern California, there's an expectation, right? And that really comes from the extremes that you're exposed to. And when you think Southern California, you think Laguna Beach, you think Orange County, you think San Diego. You think, okay, I live on the coast. I have to have a surfer bod. I have to be like, dating a surfer girl, and I have to drive a BMW convertible. That's just kind of how you have to think. But I think it's just another thing of what's portrayed. Southern California is a lot of people who are just trying to make it because it's so damn expensive. But
Right.
when it comes to fitness, absolutely. I used to love going to the beach. I was at the beach 4 or 5 times a week. Now I'm at the beach 4 or 5 times a year, maybe once a year.
Is that because you're
And
heavier, you think? And you don't, when you
absolutely,
were at your weight? Why you don't go to the
absolutely.
beach? Gotcha.
I don't go to the beach. If I go to the beach, I hate just sitting in the sand and doing nothing. So my kids are running around. They're having a great time in the water. I don't go in there. If I do, I'll wear a shirt, and I hate wearing a shirt in the waters. To me, it's like the fat shaming. It's like it's like when you wear a shirt in the water, you've given up. You put in the white flag up, and you're like, I'm a whale. I'm covering myself up. I'm going in the water. I'm not even kidding. And it's really depressing, man. But the worst thing is, after you're done with that, after you feel terrible, you know what you do? You go and get ice cream, and you go and get a burrito, and you you just dig yourself in a deeper hole. So I don't know. I think as I've grown older, I'm learning to detach from things like social media because I'm realizing that I'm relying on other people's reaction to kind of edify how I feel better about myself. And I'm not even kidding you. This week I've detached. I have that constant response that I need. I need those clicks and I need those likes. But I'm always checking, the zombie approach on the phone. Oh, something's on my phone, but there's nothing on my phone. But I've also felt like a lot of anxiety go away in this last week. I've meditated
Sure.
every morning. So it's interesting, especially in these times of quarantine. We don't see each other. All we see is our families now, right? And that's it. So where are we getting this likes from? We're just like, hey, social media, give it to me. But everyone else on social media is the same way. So California, I don't know. I keep going back and forth. Like California has a lot to do with it. I think if I was in the Midwest or like in Chicago, or if I was in, Indiana or something, I probably wouldn't care as much because you're always in layers anyways. But California here, everyone's in shorts.
Yeah.
Everyone's in flip flops.
Can't hide. Like I say that in Florida, California, you can't hide. You can't wear layers for the most part unless it's nighttime.
No.
You look foolish.
Exactly.
Can't be
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Do you think though, I see a lot of people like yourself, and this ain't a dig, when you do something with physical fitness or fitness related, you're an extremist. So like when you decide to do something, you're so hardcore into it. So like say me and you, like I'd be like, okay, I work out at this gym. If I do anything, I'm going to do it for an hour and a half, call it a day, right? I may do some extra walking. I'm not obsessed with my diet. I get nuts when I get in the gym. And then if you remember, when I get out, it's over. Sure, I'd love to do other physical activities. If I'm going to go do mountain biking with Mikey, my cousin or something, but I love to swim.
Yeah.
I'll go surf if I'm whatever, jump in the ocean, whatever. I'm afraid of sharks, but that's not even a good example. Hiking. It seems like a lot of people burn themselves out. Like, and I'd hate to say like yourself, because when you were in it, 6,000 I seen you eating like an animal, doing a lot of cardio, a lot of weight training. It almost becomes a part-time job for you. But then when you can't do all those things, it's kind of like you give up on it because you can't do all 100%. The things you want to do. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to back up. I'm only going to do an hour. I'm going to do 3 hours a week in the gym, or 4. I'm only going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. In your case, it doesn't seem you're either all in or all out.
That's kind of my personality. Absolutely.
I think a lot of people are like that.
Do.
That's a lot of people. I think that's my point. It's either like when they diet, they got to take on these ridiculous diets that they're not going to keep up with, right? To a certain point. Or they eat a bunch of junk food, or they don't give a shit. It goes from one extreme to another to just say, hey, let's have some portion control. Let's figure out what I'm doing that's helping and hurting me within my diet. Not becoming obsessed with diets. You know that you're going to, and I've been there. Say you're eating 6,000 calories. I did that for 20 something years. Tried to do 5,000 calories, 250 pounds. That's not going to last forever. It's fun to do, right? But it's not going to last. It's not. Right. In your case, because your weight, you're a guy who weight fluctuates. Why take on that level unless you're going to do a competition? Why do you kind of do that to yourself?
I think it's like a expectation that I've set for myself. I think once you get to certain peaks or certain valleys of your fitness life, you kind of understand what it takes to get there.
Sure.
So you understand that it's an all or nothing approach. You understand, but I think a lot of it has to do with the way we're taught. Like, so I'm an immigrant. I came from a different country, right?
Sure.
And for me, you were always taught, because food in America is everywhere. You can always have access to food here. Where I'm from, it's not like that. You have a certain amount of resources and you eat what you're given. So, and then in the back of my mind, I can still think of my aunt telling me, clean your plate, eat every single piece of rice, because we eat rice and curry from where I'm from. So even to this day, I cannot leave a plate without it being completely demolished. I can't let food go in the trash. And this is something I had to realize when I first got married, and my other 2 kids, they are very picky eaters. And to me, that's like, it's tough, but they would always throw away like food. And to me, it drove me up the wall. And because in my back of my mind, I'm like, no, you have to eat everything. You have to eat everything. So, but then I will be the first to say that I have a food addiction. honestly.
Right.
I love food,
Yeah.
and now it's just like you said, portion control. Um, yeah, so I definitely have a food addiction, and I've never actually never really told anyone about that. I told my wife. I told maybe one other person.
Sure.
Um, and it's that, how like people say the fear of missing out, FOMO, or whatever, right? It's the And that's for me with food. If I see like a dessert and I don't eat it, I have that fear of missing out. Oh, I'm never gonna eat it again, right? Or if I go to if I go like I love Mediterranean food, my favorite food. Um, and I see some shawarma, right? I'm like, oh, I'm getting like a falafel sandwich. I have to get that too because I'm gonna miss out on it. I'm never gonna get to eat it again. Which
Absolutely.
is, if you if you think about it, it's like the stupidest thing in the world, but you will force yourself to do it, And it's something that I still struggle with to this day. I mean, I was literally at Costco yesterday, and I'm going through all my stuff. I had a list of stuff, and I typically don't deviate from the list, but I bought stuff that I didn't need to, you know, because of, there's a my wife and I love to bake. We love to make. She makes fresh focaccia from scratch. You wouldn't know that it wasn't from Italy. It's like that good, right? And we use like really good unfiltered organic olive oil, which is most people don't know. You don't let olive oil sit in a bottle for years. You eat that as fast as you can. You're Italian, you know that, right? So, and we make everything from scratch. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna miss out on this olive oil. It's probably never gonna be at Costco at this price. Boom, I got it.
Yeah.
So I think this journey now I'm on, probably this week, has been really enlightening. So it's really interesting that we're talking about this. But yeah, man, it's a lot of fear of missing out. It's a lot of
Yeah.
I have to eat this, I have to do this, and I have to do it 100% extreme, or I have to do nothing at all. And I think America in general is like that. I think you're 100% right because everything's so damn cheap, right? Everything's so damn cheap. You go get a donut, it's 75 cents,
Right.
right?
All the fast food
But they're
is
like,
cheap. I mean, compared relative
right,
to healthy food. Right.
yeah, right. And we're just like, oh, here's quantity, oh, buy this extra value pack, you get, you know, four more or something for
Yeah.
50 cents more or whatever. And they're just that is being shoved to you psychologically everywhere you go. And what we don't get is quality. I remember when we went to Europe in 2018, I loved it. I
Yeah.
absolutely loved it because you paid for something like that was absolute quality. I mean, you're
Right.
talking like
Portion control. Yeah.
oh yeah, a small sandwich about this big with
Panini.
prosciutto, a fresh slice. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like a Gruyere cheese, maybe
Panini.
some greens on there.
Sure.
Looks great, and it was like €4, right? But that's the quality you would pay for a $15 sandwich in the States, right? Over there, but it's like €4, and that was normal. Even when you went to like get off at a train stop and you wanted a croissant, right? It was the best croissant you've ever had, and it was a euro 50, you know. And what it really challenged my mentality because I grew up in the States, pretty much. I've been here since
Sure.
I was 11. But when I went over there, it reset my mind to thinking, wow, do you really need to eat so much? Like you don't need to. It's why don't you get something that's small
Yeah.
and just eat to what you need instead of eating to when you're full. Um, I think more. I think I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I had to put that out there, but I think that whole food pyramid, right, has to do a lot of what people are obese in this country. Like
Yeah. They
you
say that.
don't need that
Sure.
shit. You don't.
Right.
Yeah. You don't. I mean, even Italians who are some of the best food I love. Right, we make pasta from scratch here at our house,
Yeah.
and even for us, now we eat a little bit, right? But
Yeah.
Italians, they've been doing this for thousands of years. They eat just a little bit. That's it. They don't overdo it, right? They eat
Right.
tons of olive oil. Don't have heart disease. How is that even possible? It's because all the fake stuff that we put in here with this fake food pyramid. So, um, I almost hate to say this, but I think that living in America, you're destined to be obese just from your influences from your food, everywhere you go. Unless you were raised with the mentality like, you only eat what you need instead of eating to be full, it's really hard to maintain your weight here. Because any immigrant I know that comes here
Yeah.
from Sri Lanka or instantly gain 20 pounds. Instantly gain 20 pounds.
Right. Different foods. Well,
Crazy.
so I always found that interesting too, because growing up in an Italian household, if you look at the way American Italians were eating, especially Chicago, which is one of the most obese cities in the world, not only the country,
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
again, when you eat pasta in Italy, it's a small portion, right? A salad is made for health, all those
Right.
type of things, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
in our country, you get a pasta, they give you a pound of pasta. They're giving you huge meatballs. They're giving you huge sausage. The pizzas
Yeah.
are a lot more natural, let's say, in Italy. So I used to go back and
Yeah.
forth with even when I went to Italy and stuff, you can tell how come, let's say, Europeans in Italy, all my cousins and all them, they're thin. They don't work out with weights, but they're thin. A lot of my family members in
Right.
Chicago, let's say they're all obese, they're all heavy, right? A lot of them
Yeah.
are heavy. I used to say I worked out as hard as I did so I can eat whatever I wanted to eat. That was my
Yeah.
theory.
That's fair.
And I used to goof
Yeah.
around and say, I'm the only jealous streak I really have is with food. If I go to an Italian restaurant, you know this, I kind of get caught up and I want everything. It's almost like a kid in a candy store that says, I want this candy, I want this. And you start eating, back to us being Americans and one being able to afford to do that. But I just, like, if I see plates coming out or different dishes, I'd be like, I want this, I want that. Oh my God, I want that. I was more concerned sometimes, even if I was eating what other people were eating than what I was actually eating. I was almost jealous that I didn't order
Right.
this. Why didn't I try
Yeah.
that? Right? Instead of being
Yeah.
happy with what I ate. But here's something
Yeah.
I wanted to get back to too with you. Do you think you're the
Yeah.
type of person? I think there's a lot of people here like this. I call them kind of people that work out for the trophy, right? Or the award or the medal.
Yeah.
When you
That's
like,
fair.
yeah, a lot of people like say, like, well, I notice when you work out, if you're getting ready, if you put it in your mind, say, I'm doing it for a show. And I just went through this with Mike Mango. He may have had problems losing weight over the time, but I mean, he wanted to get in shape. He got in shape. But then when he decided, I want to do a show, another gear kicked in. Now, all of a sudden, he is watching everything he's eating. He is working out differently. He's being more consistent. But then you take the
Yeah.
show out of it, let's say, not in his case, but say, all right, we're not doing a show, not doing a Tough Mudder, we're not doing anything. Then all of a sudden, it gives people almost the flip side to say, you know what am I doing this for? Am I doing this to walk on the
Yeah.
beach and look thin for who? Am I in shape? Why do I got to be in
Yeah.
shape? I'm married. Who's, you know what I mean? What's the difference? It's irrelevant if I'm in shape or
Yeah.
not to a certain degree. A lot of people just can't work out for the sake of working out for their health. They don't look at the long road. They're not saying, you know what, if I stay
Mm.
healthy now for the next, because it's a life, it's for life working out or trying to stay in shape. A lot of people just look at
Yeah.
it in small increments. Like, I'm going to do a show, it's going to
Right.
be in 6 months, and I'm going to do that. And then what? Like, it's more like you should be saying, hey, I want to live a lot. Every year I want to be healthier, not more unhealthy.
Right.
And I shouldn't have to do it because I'm
Yeah.
getting some award or for some social media presence. But in your
Yeah.
case, do you think you do better? Like, if people have to have
Yeah.
that award or
Um.
that, it's almost a competition with themselves. I think there's all
Yeah.
these different things
Yeah.
mixed in. Because when you
Yeah.
were competing or when you wanted to compete, you had a different mindset. Then when you weren't competing, I
Yeah.
noticed you had another one.
Yeah. 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 I think I would definitely do it for the attention. I don't think now being in a place of, you know, a lot more self-awareness, I think a lot more humility, I would say that, yeah, I totally did that for attention. I mean, I, part of the reason I would be in shape is so I can just like, well, I was single, and of course that really helps when you're in really good shape and you're single. But secondary, also it really helps when you have a goal that you're working towards. I don't think that you know, I don't think I could be completely happy if I was just working out every morning. Like I would get out on the bike, or I would just, do cardio consistently like a routine. I don't think I'd be happy until I got to like a oh, I can show this off, and I can flaunt it. And I think that comes a lot of with my self-worth. I always feel like I've missed out on opportunities, so that sometimes um, I feel like I have to try in other areas to make myself seem more than I am, you know. But I think the older I get now, I'm a little bit more self-loving to understand, like, that's just fake stuff, man. But yeah, I like to work out for goals. I mean, I did a Spartan race 2 years ago. Absolutely killed me. I mean, it was torture. It was so hard, you know. But then I also thought, like, if I was in, and the guy I did it with was my really good friend Robert, who actually we met because he needed to get in shape for the Navy, and here I was at 270 pounds when I first met him, and I did a whole like routine, and he was probably 100 pounds less than me, and I did that circuit fast, and he's like, "How are you not exhausted?" I said, "Well, you just condition your metabolic rate, and your stamina." And then I started training him, and then we at the same time we both lost weight. And that's around the time I met you. Um, but we did the Spartan race together, and I would have destroyed him at 180 pounds. I mean, I would have left him in the dust. But here I was, he had to wait for me at every obstacle, every obstacle. And we finished it, and I have a medal. All right, cool. But at the same time, I still like, oh, I did a really, that was a really shitty thing I did. I could have done better. I should have been in better shape. I'll still do that. Still do that. So, yeah, it's really challenging. I think also when you get to a certain part of you being a parent, that affects a lot of it. Like being a special needs parent, I mean, my wife will tell you that we were doing really good. She had lost like 17, 18 pounds in like 12 days. Just, we were kicking into another gear for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then Joel had a seizure. And then instantly our world is turned upside down, and instantly goes from, hey, here's structured meal plans, or here's structured this, to, oh, now you're going to eat at the McDonald's at the bottom of the hospital for 3 meals a day. Or you're gonna
I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah, you have, yeah, absolutely. So um, you really have to focus. But I think more than focusing, I think it has to be, like you were saying, portion control.
Yeah.
It just has to be eating to what I need, and then that's it.
And learning what is making you gain weight and lose weight. The reality is, a lot of times people will be like, eating McDonald's makes me gain weight. The reality is, it may not just be McDonald's. It just may be you're not exercising. The times you're eating, are you getting enough rest? What are you drinking as well? Are you drinking a lot of alcohol, not alcohol? And I'm not here to preach to anybody, but I think too, and I discussed this with Amber, which kind of blew me away. She was like 220 or 230 pounds, right? And then she got up to 300 pounds, almost unbeknownst to her, she was gaining that much weight. And what I think the one thing people want is look at your clothes. I discussed that. If you're growing out of your clothes, you got to use that as a regulator. But I think a lot of people too that are heavy, they don't want to go spend the money, like lose weight, and then spend money on a new wardrobe, the reality of it to a certain degree.
I think it's almost opposite, I would say. I would say that because I like, for me, I don't want to buy new clothes. Like when I'm getting bigger, I don't want to buy new clothes.
Exactly.
So that forces me to, what I mean? Yeah.
I think it goes both ways. Absolutely.
It does. Yeah.
But I think the true test is, how do you feel? When I was gaining weight, the reality was I wanted to be 260 natural. I was 250. I felt worse than I ever felt my entire existence. And I had to say, you know what? This isn't working for you. Yeah, in the gym, I'm stronger than I may have ever been, right? And I may have had an image. I'm like a 3-4X shirt. I love that image. Yeah. I loved every aspect, but then I can't go up a flight of stairs without feeling like I'm going to pass out, or open gifts without sweating profusely. I'm out for dinner and all I'm doing is, right? And everywhere I go, I'm uncomfortable. So sometimes you got to realize what you sometimes want isn't always exactly what's going to fit you either. So you may want to be 180 pounds. The reality is you may never be able to hold 180 pounds. Maybe you
That's for
can,
sure. Yeah.
but maybe not.
Yeah.
It's too hard on you, Locke. I'm just saying, maybe
Yeah.
200,
Yeah.
220 would be a better fit. Maybe it's 240.
That's
I don't
right.
know. But maybe over 300 we know may not be working for you. We get it.
Oh, it's definitely not working.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm saying a lot of people they won't take a realistic approach on where they should and shouldn't be. That goes for guys losing weight or trying to gain weight. Like I was saying earlier, I was on the flip side of you. I kept trying to get bigger and heavier and hold it. And that made me feel shittier. On your case, on the flip side, you're always kind of maybe trying to lose weight. And just because you're losing weight doesn't always mean that a certain weight that you get to, like 180 or whatever, makes you feel better. Again, you may look at yourself and say, I love it because I finally have abs and I'm shredded, but you may feel weak, not as strong. And it may just take too much time and effort to get and hold that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I could naturally, even if I was to like be, let's put it this way, to be at 180 pounds was a lot of work, because naturally I think I'd rather be around like 200. Like you're right. So even now I don't set my goal at 180 anymore. I set my goal at being at like 240 right now for the meantime. And it just has to be incremental, right? So I've of course completely given up sugary stuff. I drink maybe like 4 ounces of orange juice if I want some, and I just say, okay, let me just taste it. That'll be enough. Done. Or if I get a soda, like I'll get like those cute little tiny glass bottles of Coke. Perfect, that's good. But I'll drink that maybe once a month or something. But I really have to get out of this idea of like the fear of missing out. Like just because I don't drink it now doesn't mean I'll never have it again. I mean, I'll admit this. The worst thing for me, I love Popeye's fried chicken.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
like
what
their
it is,
chicken
man.
sandwiches.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the only thing. That's like my kryptonite. I love Popeye's fried chicken.
Okay.
And so for me, even if I was in really good shape, and a few years ago when I had lost like 30 pounds. I didn't tell anybody. I was just really proud of myself.
Sure.
You know what the kryptonite was? Every time I would drive home, in my mind, I was like, I should get off this exit and go get Popeyes. I fought that
Food
every
addiction.
single day. Yeah, and it's terrible, So my wife, and now we don't really eat out at all. Maybe once a week. We make everything at home, and that's really helped. But yeah, I don't think anyone when they talk about being big, or when they talk about being small and then being big, I don't think anyone really talks about the food addiction that they really do have. And I think it's psychological. You especially if you watch TV. I don't watch any TV, any cable TV. I watch YouTube. I love YouTube. I love learning. I watch Curiosity Stream on Masterclass, that kind of stuff. Awesome, great investments. But I think if I was watching TV every day, I would be even bigger. I'm not even kidding you, because I'd be inundated with McDonald's everywhere I go or whatever.
Right.
And even though I think McDonald's is disgusting, I would eat that in a heartbeat because those fries are delicious.
Yeah, right. There's always a little something at every place that's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, with fast food, I think a lot of times, not all of them, but like you could say chicken nuggets at Chick-fil-A are good, right? I'm just saying, or their sandwich is good.
Yeah.
And Popeye's chicken is good, and whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just checking on my boy here.
No, that's okay. You want me to pause it?
Oh, you're fine. You're good. Yeah, he has oximeter that I check on. Hi, buddy. You see me?
I see you.
Too dark.
There you go.
Cool. So.
Yeah, you were talking about the addiction issue too, like you said with television, which I used to say about gambling when I used to, gamble even when I was younger. We started booking, we started taking bets and living that lifestyle for a long time. I said, no matter where you go, you can't avoid sports for the most part.
Right.
If you like sports in any way, shape, or form, I don't care if you're sitting at a bar, I don't care if you're watching TV at home with your friends, social media later on, you can't avoid unless you kind of close the whole world off. And I think food's the same way. You can't hide. I don't care if you open a magazine. I don't care if you're looking at the internet. I don't care if you're watching television. I don't care if you're driving down the street now. You are going to see food. And my friends go through that all the time regarding him not wanting to pull over. And I think one of the, I think Amber discussed that as well, being kind of a closet eater and not a lot of people even knowing that. And I think I have friends like that as well that will, and a lot of people lie. They're like, McDonald's is shit. I wouldn't go to Burger King. I won't go to Arby's. I won't go to Popeyes. I won't do this. They're all full of shit because the reality is they do like it, or they are pulling.
And they do go there.
They do go there. Right? I mean, right? They're just not doing it socially a lot of times. God forbid someone went to McDonald's and said, I love the Shamrock Shake, or I love this, or I love this, because I think they would be shamed, which is ridiculous. I told Rhea I would love to do, because she loves all fast food. Not all fast food, all, I guess you could say chain fast food restaurants, whatever.
Chick-fil-A,
all of them. She don't care if it's whatever it is. She is down with it. I don't know one that she doesn't, maybe Carl's Jr., and that's not a dig on them. That's just something I don't think she likes, or maybe Checkers, or a few. I don't think she was raised with them. But a lot of our culture and how we were raised is why we like also, I believe, going to these places or eating that way. A lot of times we know it may not be healthy, but it's fun. Like I grew up in Chicago near Oak Brook, Illinois, which was where corporate headquarters for McDonald's was. All my elders were more Italian beef, Italian sausage, everything Italian. Paninis, sausage, everything. I don't care if it's a meatball sub, but we as kids grew up with McDonald's. And I was fortunate enough to go help my uncle who was painting McDonald's corporate headquarters and the university. But I like McDonald's. And my dad won't touch McDonald's. He almost makes fun of me, right? To a certain degree. But I can see where I'm going to is a lot of times we say, hey, I'm going to eat McDonald's one day, right? But then 3 days later, you're eating Popeyes. Then maybe 2 days later, you know what I mean? You're at Burger King, hypothetically. And then 2 days later, you're ordering a pizza. How that shit, sometimes you don't realize how much of that type of food you're eating.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, but what I always found interesting is, and I want to tell people this, you got to realize a lot of times, too, you can't carry the burden of sometimes eating shitty food and let that weigh you down for your workout or for the week or the month ahead. Because some people will be like, I can't believe I had a pizza and McDonald's this week. I feel like shit. And then they're miserable for that day or when they go to work. I'm like, dude, in a month, you're never going to remember that McDonald's meal. You're not going to remember that slice of pizza or that extra slice of pizza you ate. Move on.
Sure.
Just move on.
Yeah.
You did it. Yeah. You did it. Accept it and move on. You did it because you wanted to do it. You don't do things a lot of times because you don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head for sure. I think also I think with the advent of social media, and especially now with technology and being able to edit everything that is seen by your followers and your viewers, right? Like this type of conversation is free flowing. There's no editing, anything going on. But what you see, 99% of everything, especially the younger generation, it's curated, it's fixed, it's edited, right? That is so dangerous because it's not reality, and you see these, and a lot of these people too. You look at any Instagram model out there, most of their shots are photoshopped, right? They're done by professional photographers, and most of them have plastic surgery. I think it's a lot of naive. People are very naive to think that a lot of these social media stars don't have butt jobs, or they don't have, and you don't understand that until you've actually been in the fitness industry, or understand how body mechanics work. You're like, that's not right. You can't form a butt like that with legs like that, kind of like that thing. And I think also a lot of it is because of us curating all these different types of content and what we're exposed to, that actually ends up being a really bad thing, because now we just outsource our happiness to those type of things, right? So all these people that you're talking about, oh, I don't go to McDonald's. Yeah, they're outsourcing their food for convenience. They're just going, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to eat that because it's convenient, right?
Sure. And it's cheap sometimes. It's cheap. It's
and it's
convenient.
cheap
It's
sometimes.
accessible. Right.
Yeah, I don't even know though, because I mean last time I went to McDonald's and I got something, it was like $10. I'm like, what the hell? And I feel like crap afterwards. I don't even feel full sometimes, you know. And you get a gigantic soda, you know. I, I've been doing a little thought experiment for the last week, and I started doing everything in serving sizes. What actually the serving size on the bottle is. So I'll start measuring. So a serving of orange juice, right? So we think, okay, in our mind, we think a 20-ounce glass is one serving of orange juice. It's not. It's only about,
Yeah.
yeah, it's 8
8
ounces,
ounces.
right?
I was gonna.
And
Yeah.
that, yeah, which is nothing, right? I mean, who drinks 8 ounces at
Right.
one time? I don't. I drink like 25 ounces if I could. And if you go to the closest restaurant, if you go to Denny's or whatever with your kids, give me a large. Like, you know, and
Yeah.
it's terrible, but that's 4 times the what you need for one serving of anything. I think people would be shocked to think about how much we think about. For when I think about eating a steak, in my mind, you know, I'm like thinking a 20-ounce steak. That's a steak,
Yeah.
but you don't need a 20-ounce steak. You need an 8-ounce steak. You know, I mean, a tiny little steak. That's all you need. Something that's good quality. Um, yeah, there's just a lot of fake stuff going on, and I think people are fooled by the fact that, you know, all these people that are in shape, they don't eat the stuff. That is a bunch of garbage. I know some of those people that are Instagram models or top level athletes. It's pure genetics. These guys eat like garbage. They show up, they perform at peak levels, and they go away. It is completely a different thing, and that's what no one's really willing to talk about. So now I think it's changed a little bit because in the last 5 to 10 years, athletes are at the peak performance they've ever been. You can't now these days you can't eat crappy and perform at the top levels. Now if you're going to be like a top level athlete, whether
Sure.
it be powerlifting or whatever, you have to eat to perform at that level, right?
Sure.
But that being said, I know a lot of guys who are Olympians. I actually know a few Olympians, and they eat burritos. I would say every single day.
You
You
know
know,
what, too, Lock? You
yeah.
just mentioned it. I was going
So
to bring it up. Genetics, right? So when we're talking genetics here,
yeah,
a lot of people have to understand that, and I discuss this all the time, they don't pay attention, is everyone is built different than someone else. Sure, you may look like someone else, but take me and you're 5 foot what? How tall are
five foot
you?
five,
Okay. And
five
say
six, 5'5".
I used to be
Yeah,
5'10", whatever the case may be. I'm just using just
yeah,
us two, for instance. You would, we're not
right.
opposite, but we don't have really anything in common from the way we are structured from top to bottom, really. So, like a lot
Right.
of people comparing themselves to what other people are doing or
Yeah.
the shape that
Yeah.
they're in is so ridiculous. You have to understand that
It
you have to
is.
work with what you've been giving, no matter what. You are not going to be me, and I'm not going to be you. That could be height, width, strength, uh, whatever it could be. Even our core,
Right.
our arms, our legs, everything is different. But I don't think a lot of people realize that. They kind of have, again,
Right.
unrealistic expectations to say, I want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you're only 5'5", hypothetically. I'm not
He's
saying you.
yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. But I think until like you understand the fitness industry. I understand the fitness industry. 90% of people don't, right? People don't understand how much of a genetic freak Arnold was. I mean, he is an absolute genetic freak. Like he looked 80% of his Olympia when he was like 18 years old, right? And just working out. And this guy didn't even have nearly access to drugs that we have now when it comes to bodybuilding,
Or the
right?
equipment, or the information, or the diet, anything.
Absolutely. I mean, this guy, I mean, people really, this was in the 60s and 70s, Arnold was doing this, right? That's crazy. Like that he could achieve that. Um, I mean, the guy would take off years off and still have a 50-inch chest. Like, and to guys who understand to work out, not only, no one has, let's put it this way, no one has had the chest that Arnold has had in modern bodybuilding. You look at the top guys like Sergio Olivar, you look at Serge Nubret, you look at classics, even Frank Zane, right?
Sure.
Frank Zane, symmetry-wise, was
I'm,
so much more superior to Arnold, right?
yeah.
Probably the greatest, most godlike, image of a bodybuilder that's ever been. But Frank Zane never got any attention because Arnold was 50 pounds bigger than he was and just dominated him. So that's how much of a genetic freak he was, because Arnold took years off, came back and swept the Olympia. Now there's some discrepancies about that, right?
Right.
Everyone knows that it was fixed, but everyone also knows, that Arnold was a freak. I mean, and this is how it was. Even Lou Ferrigno, the guy who plays second to Arnold all the time, was a genetic freak. And you see all these bodybuilders now, right? There's the days of being able to work up to that level of Olympia is gone. You have to be absolute genetic freak to make it there. And it comes to, especially like even Instagram models for one, right? I can't tell you how much I loathe having to pull up my Instagram feed every day and think every single girl is an Instagram model. It bores me to death. People I know who are doctors and lawyers who are doing their side girl pose with their butt sticking out in the wrong way, it annoys the crap out of me because I'm like, I just want to see my friends being my friends, not pretending to be something. But then again, I was guilty of that because, well, I think I was partially guilty of that because I would say that I never did all that kind of stuff, like where I was like posing a certain way or whatever. But I would edit my photos, sure. So I'm guilty of that. But I feel like we can't even be our true selves anymore because we're trying to be someone else. And genetically, there's there are certain people that are just genetically gifted, and until we understand that, like it's fake to think so. Even like if you look at Kim Kardashian or whatever, right? Kim Kardashian, when before she got all the work done and got married to Kanye and whatever, she was just symmetry. Like she was very beautiful naturally, had natural curves. And most women from the Middle East, like Armenian, they do have very beautiful physiques for the most part. Persian women, right, and Lebanese women especially, that naturally have that identity. And then they hit their 30s and it just goes downhill. Whereas if you're Filipino, you can, look like you can look like you're 30 for
Like
about
Rhea.
50 years. Like
Yeah.
Rhea.
Yeah, they don't crack. That old expression,
They don't
remember?
crack. Yeah, exactly. So it's interesting how people forget genetics plays such a role, and we're just trying to play God with a lot of these things. You and I have a very good understanding of not taking supplements. I've known you. I've never seen you ever take any single supplement, and I'm the same way. I've taken
Flintstone
protein,
vitamins.
right? But you and I,
Flintstone vitamins.
yeah,
That's all I think.
yeah, still to this day.
Yeah, I haven't taken
And that's
supplements in
that's what
20.
that's what you need. But
Well,
you
whey
work with what you
protein in a
have.
smoothie. If I get a smoothie, they throw whey protein in it,
Yeah,
I guess.
right. And that's all you need.
Yeah, I'm not a,
Really.
yeah.
I have guys who friends of mine. Yeah, it's annoying. Yeah. So no, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was going to say whey protein's the only, I did a whole podcast on when I was trying to gain weight in my early 20s, let's just say, or mid 20s even, I was taking Gainer's Fuel. I was taking this stuff in Orlando, Florida called Hot Stuff. It was all sold over the counter GNC. We took Genesis weight gainers, and then we took like Animal Packs, Natural Sterile Complex. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
placebos. I don't think they were regulated back then, but when it came to gaining weight, I did gain weight because there's so much sugar, I would presume, back then. I can't remember. It's 25 years ago, if not longer. But I realized for me,
Yeah.
mainly just eating a steak a day, a lot of chicken, and I ate anything in my path. But again, genetics, my friend, I will admit, I'm very fortunate. I thank my mother and father all the time. I can eat and do, even at my age, I'm 50, I can still eat and do a lot of things most people can't. I can still gain weight very quickly if I want, lift heavy weights and have a lot of strength, or I can trim down just like I did. Because right now, with the coronavirus, we can't go to our gyms. I only have my complex gym, and the dumbbells only go up to 50. So how much size am I going to
Yeah.
hold? I'm not going to keep eating. So I said, let me drop down to 190 and see how I feel. And I feel really good. But I know I lost some
Yeah.
size, obviously, and strength. back to having a
That's
realistic
not
approach.
noticeable.
Well, I have a realistic approach on certain things, which took me a lifetime to learn. I think what happens with a lot of people is when you're overweight or when you're heavier, you don't think you're going to be happy till you hit a certain weight. And a lot of times you may hit that weight, but you realize I'm not as happy as I thought I was. Going both ways,
Correct.
from thin to heavy, heavy to thin. Because like you may say at 180 pounds, I'm going to look this way. And then you get there and you're like, oh my God, I don't have that much strength. I don't look the way I thought I'd look. I don't have a six pack.
Yeah.
Now what's the next move?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
you
mean,
know, that's you're. I didn't mean to cut you out. I was gonna say I agree with you. I think I look back. There's a period of time that I was extremely happy with where I was, and that was right around 195, 200. That was a time I could just say I was eating not pretty much whatever I wanted, but I was eating still pretty healthy for the most part. But it was more when I felt like I needed to eat, when I needed to do something, right? But the best feeling for me fitness wise is being able to feel good in your skin, but also if I need to go run 4 miles, I've never been much of a runner, but I love to run, which is weird. Um, I'm just limited by my feet, and I would love to just go run. I would love to go bike. I would love to go be outdoors. I love the outdoors. Um, and here's another thing I also say, like my wife and I are. My wife is amazing. She's an amazing person. Has absolutely taken on the responsibility of Joel and our other two kids head on, and she's done a phenomenal job. But she is not an outdoors person. So I think a lot of that has to do with, you know, maintaining your goals. Like when we were dating, we would go out on hikes all the time. We would do fun stuff like that. But you know, things change, and Joel changed our life completely. But I was gonna say that the person that you're with has to have a like mind in their fitness journey and what they eat if you want to maintain it, and you have to align that. But that being said, people who are like that are very neurotic, or they're very um, self-absorbed, and I didn't want that in my long-term relationship. So I had to kind of sacrifice the fact of, okay, am I going to be with someone who's going to be dedicated to their fitness journey all the time, or am I going to be with someone who's happy and who really my she's really my ballast in a lot of ways. You know, she helps me really understand. I mean, she's helped both of us achieve kind of our place in life right now, which is a good thing, right? Because we've been able to really take care of the family, so which is important. Um, so I would say that, you know, kind of coming back to your point of you know, people need to understand where they're supposed to be and not be focused on these genetic freaks and all these different things that are unachievable. And you're not going to be happy when you get there, because, and kind of coming back to our whole conversation, is what it takes to maintain that. Oh my God. You know,
absolutely.
are you willing to wake up every day at 4 a.m. and run 3 miles? Are you willing to, you know, to not have friends and just, you know, meal prep twice a week? Let's be honest. A lot of these people don't talk about that. They just see, oh, here are my results. But they don't talk about the, hey, I don't get to spend time with my friends because I'm so involved in my fitness journey. Or
Yeah.
I do this full time and I get paid X amount of dollars to promote this brand, right? So I can afford to not, I can afford to not have a full-time job because I can just live here. A lot of the Instagram people don't talk about this, and I know a few people with 1 million followers or whatever, you know, and these people, they paid for their followers. They live in they share a room with someone because they don't really make much income, right? Because until you're at the 1 million plus, you're not really making any money because you're not getting paid to promote anything. So a lot of these people they're
Most are
putting this
broke.
facade of, oh, most are broke.
Most
Exactly.
bodybuilders,
Like,
powerlifters that I grew up with, they're broke because between the supplements and food, it destroys them. Plus, they can't even hold jobs unless they're trainers, hypothetically. I'm not saying all of them are
exactly.
bouncers, right? That's why most go
Right,
into
right, right.
wrestling or go into play, things in that nature so they can make some money. But for the most part, as you know, they're most
Yeah,
professional
I mean, just like,
bodybuilders, not even professional, but just bodybuilders in general, power lifters. A lot of people obsessed with
well,
fitness are broke. A lot of them.
well, yeah, I mean, you see a lot of people who are, previously were models are now in exotic dancing. It's just how it works, right? It's like a chain, right? If failed people with failed dreams end up in different parts of society, You have guys who are, guys like you said, who are amazing bodybuilders just can't make it, and they end up becoming bouncers and whatever, or they end up joining the military, either or, So, yeah, I think to understand like the metastasis, right, is to point find the point of normalcy in your life. Um, it's really hard, and like you said, you're at 50 and you understand where you are, you understand your body. Most people don't. Most people don't.
No, they
I
don't pay
I know,
attention to their body. They neglect it like everything else a lot of times. It's like your bank account a lot of times. If you
exactly.
don't have money, you want to neglect
Yeah,
it. You look at your body, I don't like
yeah,
the way it looks. I'm going to neglect it. Instead of
right.
taking time to figure it out and make things better, they almost make things worse to a certain degree. Because the one thing you can't bullshit
Yeah,
is your health, I always say. You can't hide from yourself. It's not like I could leave this body and go into someone else's.
you
Even
can't.
though a lot of people don't realize,
It's a reality check.
yeah, they don't even realize that to a certain degree. Like, this is it. Like, this is the one, like, what is that saying? This is the one car you got. Drive it till it
Right,
drives
right.
you no more.
Yeah,
If you beat the shit out of
yeah,
it, it's not going to last, just like anything else, right?
yeah. Absolutely. I don't think there's enough. So weirdly enough, a lot of people I see who are older, right? I pay attention. I'm an observer, and I pay attention to a lot of people and society and culture. And I always really admire people in the Vietnamese culture, Southeast Asian cultures, who are in their 80s and they can do a full squat to the ground, right? And then here you are in America and you see people in their 50s, right? Or like, I mean, you're in your 50s. Think about that. You're in your 50s and the great shape you're in, right? And yes, you have genetics. But think about all the people that you go to Walmart, and I never go to Walmart, but the one time I do, I'm reminded why I'm at Walmart. And it's nothing against people who shop at Walmart, just saying
Of
that
course.
people are in carts, right, who can't walk.
Yeah.
They're so obese they
Right.
can't walk. And as society, we've just said that's okay. That's okay. We can mitigate your symptoms. We can make you live longer. Your life's gonna suck. We have the medicines to make sure it's okay. I mean, it's the same reason if you go into if you watch a TV commercial and you see all these people with like high blood pressure in the commercials or rosacea or whatever on their arms, right? Or any type of condition. They look nothing like that in real life. Those people are paid actors, and people with high blood pressure don't look like they're in shape. Let's be honest, right? And people who have, who struggle with cholesterol, very rarely are they people in shape. But in these commercials and all these different things, they're living exemplary lives. That's not the reality of it. Most people with high blood pressure are, taking 5 to 6 medicines a day to stabilize it. Instead of saying, hey, look, let's just fix your diet. Let's just fix your cardio. Let's just do that. And I'm not the biggest fan of Bill Maher, right? Bill Maher is on the left. He's a little bit of a commentator. He used to do that show, Politically Incorrect.
Sure. He's a
But that
famous
guy,
comedian. He's very educated. I mean, he's a very smart man, though.
oh, for
I'm not
sure.
going to say I
Oh,
follow him by
yeah,
any
yeah,
means, but yeah, I get where you're at
yeah.
with him. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, he always says, "Look, we can have all the Medicare for all we want, and it'll cost a bunch of money. But the biggest fix is fixing the food system, fixing how we eat.
And
If
the way
you
we're
do that,
programmed. The way we're
and
programmed.
the way we're, yeah,
If you look at
yeah. I mean,
commercials again, everything is about, say, fast food or not living like, that. And then on the other element, it's take all this medicine to make you feel better as well. So eat this food and then take this medicine, or like, again, I'm
yeah,
just
it's
using the extreme.
counterintuitive.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
it's like, here's a
yeah,
Domino's commercial, which we like pizza, but there's nothing
yeah.
wrong with having a pizza or having McDonald's. It's the excessiveness and programming you
Every
to
day.
feel or pushing it
Yeah,
so much. Anyways, go ahead.
yeah. And people also forget that stuff tastes so good is because it's full of crap. Like let's not really like Domino's. Love Domino's. I think their crust is delicious. Right, $7 for a pizza. You know, but my
Right.
wife and I can make we can make 5 pizzas for $7 at home. And her if you see how good her pizza is, your mom would be proud. Like, and your mom I know is a great cook. Right, so it's just crazy. Like you just offshore your responsibility, but the reason all these fast foods taste good is they're full of so much oil, so much sugar, right? I mean, think about why we like ketchup. Why do we like ketchup? Because it's full of sugar. It's delicious.
I know
You know,
sugar
give me
sugar
ketchup.
is the worst thing. I love sugar. And as you know, that's the
Same.
that's the one component that no one seems to really want to back up on. Let's call it for what it is. I don't care if
No.
it's like you said, orange
Yeah, for
juice.
sure.
I don't care what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Butter and sugar are
And is it?
brutal.
Yeah. I'm not really a big. I'm not against butter. I think butter actually, if you moderate it, right, it's probably a better source of fat than most of the refined oils you get.
Hmm.
You know, most of everything, because I mean, think about it, everything that we have available on our shelf is processed to the nth degree. That we lack so much vitamins and nutrients. That's why when I get olive oil, I'll get some expensive olive oil because I'll have a teaspoon of it, but the quality of the nutrients that are in it is amazing, right? And even balsamic vinegar. I love balsamic vinegar. It's one of my favorite
Yeah,
things.
I
Just
love
to
them both.
do some crack yeah, just crack some pepper, and just dip some bread in it. Boom. But now what I've substituted instead of bread is I'll just use like some vegetables, or whatever. But coming back into it, I guess it would say it's a big shift in your mindset. You have to make it a lifestyle. If you try, every time I failed at losing weight, every time I failed at uh, just getting in shape, it's because I never made a lifestyle change. It's because I went to the extreme. I said, okay, my family's going out to eat. I'm gonna bring my own food, and I'm gonna eat at a restaurant with my Tupperware. Not even kidding you.
I know.
Instead
I
of
used to see
saying,
you do it.
hey, yeah, yeah, I
I
think we
used to
went to
do.
Little Italy once. Yeah,
No, you brought a bunch. Usually, in Little Italy, eat a lot of protein there, but
yeah,
other
yeah, yeah, yeah,
places you'd usually not. Sometimes
yeah,
you'd eat out. We'd eat
yeah.
out in the patio
Sometimes
area or somewhere. But I get what you're saying.
that's true. Yeah, well, I think it's just crazy that why can't I just practice some self control? Why can't I
Exactly.
say, okay, let me just, if Richie's gonna have a piece of lasagna, let me just get a antipasta salad, right? Because I mean that
Yeah,
lasagna is really good,
I
and
like it. Mona Lisa.
at Mona Lisa so good, but I still get a number 8 with prosciutto, like at the sorprese the sandwich, right? Oh
The
my god,
caprese sandwich. You're saying
caprese,
the
yes,
caprese,
yes.
and then I would add the prosciutto. You kind of jumped on me with that
Oh
one. I
yeah, I did. I totally stole your thunder. And I still get those little cherry, you
Oh
know.
yeah, you like the
But yeah,
olives. Yeah.
so good, so good. But I mean, even now, like I do in moderation. So why is it so hard for us? I think to actually have um, self control. It's so hard. Like
Hmm.
oh my god, man, I can't
Do
tell
you
you.
think you have an
When I go,
addictive personality though, La? Like a lot of
I
people that eat?
don't.
Oh, you don't. It's just food because you don't
No,
seem to
I
ever
think it's just
drink.
food.
I've never seen you do drugs. You don't drink. You are
No,
one of the healthiest guys I know as far
yeah,
as that goes. But then when it comes to food, and I think there's obviously millions of
terrible.
you out there, hundreds of millions of people
Yeah.
worldwide that then on the flip side, go through what you go through regarding food addiction. Why does it have to be so
Yeah,
excessive, you think?
I think it's just the amount of choices and convenience open to you.
Mm.
I mean, now especially like if I wanted to, I can just go get something. Um, I mean, I just graduated with my degree in finance, so I'm understanding a lot of systems and different things, right? And credit, and I think the ability for people to spend more, they've been given the ability to make bad choices as well. You
Yeah.
know, because if you had someone with $4 and they had the choice of buying enough groceries to last them 2 days or spending $4 on one burger, they're not gonna go spend it on that one burger. They're gonna buy enough groceries to last them a couple days, right? But now with the advent of credit and credit being so excessive to so many people, we just were easily able to spend that money, and we're easily able to, buy something. Like for example, right? I am a huge credit card guy. I pay off my credit cards every month, but everything I spend, I get points. I rack up points and I travel to Europe for free. That's who I
Yeah.
am, right? You get points too from traveling too. So, um, but um, if I just had to spend it on cash every month, like I went to Chick-fil-A, and I've been protesting Chick-fil-A for 2 years, not because of the owner, but because they contribute to whatever, they lobby, whatever. Anyways, so
Okay.
politically, I was like, no. And then here we are, the pandemic, and then my wife's like, I really want Chick-fil-A. I'm like, I really want Chick-fil-A too. So I hadn't been to Chick-fil-A in 2 years, and I go up and I roll up and we go crazy. You know what the bill was for 4 people? $57.
Mm. Yeah.
$57. If I was paying cash for that, I would have been like, nope, I'm driving past. But I had my Amex. I'm like, whatever, I'll put it on there and I'll pay it off, and then I'm like, cool.
I did KFC
You know.
yesterday for $60. We got a bucket of chicken tenders, but we fed what, six of us, maybe 5 or 6 of us.
That's pretty good. That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
Rhea's favorite. I told you she loves the fast food, and we've
She
been
does.
eating at
She
home
does.
a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not going back to you didn't go through this, but growing up in an Italian household, and I discussed this with Mike Mango, is our family's always throwing food down our throat, right? And they want to
Yeah.
overeat, overfeed us, and they don't realize it's not necessarily that healthy. Especially in the 70s, they didn't know any better, just like smoking or drinking or anything. They really didn't know
Right.
how,
Right. Right.
what things were. But I realized when I got older, the more I ate around my family, it almost became a part of my identity, where if I walked in someone's house, they wanted to feed me, especially Chicago or anywhere.
Yeah.
If I see you, let's face it, my identity with you is, Rich, let's meet in Little Italy first, or let's meet in a gym.
Right.
It's kind of one or the
Right.
other, my life. But my family loved the heavier I got, right? They loved when I was 230, 240, 250. No one's saying,
Yeah.
hey, you're overweight. Because I did lift weights. I did look like kind of a guy who was, I guess, maybe a smaller power lifter. I guess that was my shape, my frame. But they loved it. As soon as I started to lose weight and say, get down to 220, 210, are you sick? What's wrong with you? Why aren't you eating the way you ate? Sometimes we also fall into an identity with certain people, family members, friends,
Right.
colleagues, where you feel more comfortable maybe being heavy. They like you being heavier. You may be funnier that way. You may be, there's no jealousy hypothetically, because when you get in good shape, a lot of times the reality is a lot of people, they don't necessarily like that. It's what I'm trying to say to a certain degree, because they may feel that,
That's true.
you're just, not that you're throwing a dig on them, but like if you have a friend that's, you're both heavy, say, and then one gets in really good shape, how's the other one taking that? Some it doesn't bother, and some it does. And I think
That's true.
it's a reality.
Yeah.
So I went through that
Yeah.
with my
You're right.
family, not wanting me to be thin. And I'm like, you'd want me to be fitter, wouldn't you? Yeah, but we liked you when you were big and heavy and you ate all the time and you ate all our food and you'd eat 2 or 3 portions. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm almost 50 years old now. I can't keep doing that. But in their minds, because I have a lot of heavy set family members,
Right.
the aunts, uncles, they don't care because they're heavy. And it's almost like you're saying, this isn't healthy, right to their face. And they don't want to accept it
Right.
not being healthy. They're like, no, you're one of us. It's like a smoker, I always said. A lot of people don't want to quit smoking because all their friends smoke. It's a smoke break.
Yeah.
Get together. But the one who quit smoking, you're like, he's not one of us anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Do you kind of find that
Yeah.
you go through that in your life?
All the time. All the time. Yeah. When you go, we call it the Sri Lankan aunties, because we have aunties and uncles. We call everyone auntie and uncle. We don't ever call people by their first name. It's a cultural thing. So when you go to their house, they'll be the first one to say, how have you been? It's been so long, blah, blah, blah. And oh, life's been good to you. Like you're fat. But then they're like, oh, come eat, and they shovel food down your mouth, and you're like about to like finish. You're like, gasping for air because you're so full. Oh, come eat some more. You know, you don't get to eat very often. You know, and it's that's the mentality. You know, in the Mexican culture, it's the same way. My wife's Mexican, and they get down on their food's relatively healthy. You would think that Mexican food is not healthy, but it is because you know Taco Bell is not Mexican food. Most Mexican food is like just lots of vegetables, beans, rice. Yeah, the rice is not healthy, but um, it's like cactus or chilies or onions or tomatoes, or salsas. I mean, it's pretty relatively healthy stuff, and a lean meat like a carne asada or grilled chicken. That's how Mexicans eat traditionally, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and of course tortillas, but you don't have to eat tortillas. But yeah, no matter where you go, it's like we celebrate eating together, right? But no one celebrates eating a salad, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Although a good salad is pretty delicious, but um, portions are ridiculous. Portions are ridiculous everywhere we go, everything we do. With my kids, I was telling them when I was growing up, my parents and we would go to McDonald's and they had those 29-cent cheeseburgers, 39-cent, whatever. And we would share, whole family would share an order of large fries. Like that's how it would be. Now my kids are at the point where we don't really eat often, but when they go, they have to get their own meal. And when you go to Chick-fil-A, a 12-count nugget meal is $11.
Mm-hmm.
$11. And they get a large fry and they get a regular drink, But that's the scale of how we've changed the diets of our kids. Like when we were growing up, it was just different. The family ate off the value menu or something, and maybe it's an immigrant mentality, but you would never get the number two or whatever. It would just be, oh, everyone gets a 99-cent cheeseburger or a chicken sandwich, and then you would share the fries. That's how it would be, and each person would eat $3. Now, like with my kids, I can't even, of course I try, but
Yeah.
it doesn't always work out that way.
It's like even ordering pizza now. You get 2 pizzas for the price of one, hypothetically, or then you got to get wings, and then you get some chicken tenders, and then whatever else. Then you get a 2-liter of soda. It's excessive.
Yeah.
I went through this too, Locke. Like when I was younger in my 20s, especially in my mid-20s, I started coming to a lot of money, and I was working a lot. And I think an image starts to come into play too. If I didn't have a lot necessarily when I was younger, but I always ate great food. But when you start to come into money, as you know, you're eating out a lot more, right? And it could be steakhouses, it could be Italian restaurants, Mexican. But my point being is, I remember my buddy when I was gaining weight, we were always eating in restaurants. He's like, "You're fat," and I said, "I know I'm gaining weight." He goes, "No, you look like you're fat, like wealthy." Like an image too with a lot of guys is when you're out eating a lot, drinking a lot, excessiveness. It becomes really a fun part of your identity that you can go out and eat every night out, all different types of restaurants, all different types of nightclubs. It could even be gentlemen's clubs or whatever. And you kind of fall into this certain lifestyle. I'm not saying you're falling into obesity, but you're definitely, even though I was working out a ton, I'm working out very hard, but I'm eating a ton too, but I'm not eating necessarily the best places, or I'm overeating, especially like steakhouses and things in that nature. But and kind of you could do the same thing with fast food, right? It's kind of, you may have not been able when you were younger to eat all those fast food because you couldn't afford it, or your dad didn't let you get the French fries you wanted. Now you're your own adult, and now I can eat as many fries as I want. And I think a lot of people go through that with food, especially if they didn't have a lot of money to eat whenever they want. Like when you're an adult, especially if you're single, you can kind of eat whatever you want whenever you want. I mean, you're not going to be maybe going out for steak and lobster every night, but if you wanted to, you could probably do it a lot more than when you were 18, 19, 20, especially guys getting out of college. Holy shit. All my lawyer buddies now own their own firms in Chicago. And I remember a lot of them went from the doghouse to the penthouse, even though they had student loans. But I was kind of always in the penthouse for a long time because they were going to college for, 7 years. And all of a sudden, these guys, you start hanging out with all my buddies, even when I was making films in the city of Chicago, we're all eating steaks every night, Italian restaurants, and then we're smoking cigars, and then you're drinking, and it becomes a part of a lifestyle. And I think regardless if you don't have a lot of money, you're eating a lot of fast foods, maybe excessively. And if you have money, you all of a sudden are eating a lot of foods that on the flip side may be
Terrible.
not good either, even though they're in better restaurants supposedly. So if you're eating these big steaks that have been dipped in butter all day, yeah, they're delicious, but how many of those you're eating a week, right? Or how many, you're going for?
Yeah.
It's food is a
It's not.
monster part of our culture, and we don't want to admit it,
It is.
right? I
Yeah.
mean, eating is more important than almost being in shape. It's not even what we're eating. It's just we just love eating, right? I don't know how to
We
explain
do,
it.
and in
And overeating,
excess and large quantity. Overeating, yeah.
overeating.
Nothing is like, America's like the only place that we really don't do like small finger foods, which is really interesting.
Yeah,
Italians do, right? Italians
yeah.
do. You'll have like small little sandwiches or whatever.
They'll do something
So,
unique where you'll have your own pizza. In Italy, it's like, this is my pizza, but it's usually just something very
yeah,
simple. So it's pomodoro, like tomato,
right.
mozzarella, and say some basil maybe, or some olive oil over the
That's it.
top or
Yeah,
something. But it's not, again,
yeah.
like we get a pizza and you're getting all these different types of things on it. It's also made
Yeah,
it's called for what it is. But they're paninis or the
yeah.
paninos, as or there's a lot of lunch meat and antipasta and things. But again, when you
Right.
go to ours, it's extreme.
It is. I mean, look at the Chicago deep dish. You go to, Giordano's or Luminati's or something, and you're
Yeah, yeah,
getting a
yeah.
pizza that could feed, and
Well,
it's like
that's
$20. Sorry, to feed a family.
well, that's
So
lasagna. I mean, basically, that's a monster
I,
It's pizza lasagna, and I grew up with
it
it.
is a lasagna.
It's a lasagna pizza,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, Chicago's
Yeah.
brutal with the comfort food because it's really affordable. If you go to Bono, I'm related to the Bono Beefs. It's called Bono Beef.
Okay.
Portillo's.
Yeah.
I don't have to go through the whole chain of different, but a lot of food there is absolutely delicious, and the sandwich can run from $5 to $8. But if you get
Yeah.
a big beef or whatever, it's going to blow away a lot of times a burger. But again, you're talking even these sausage sandwiches. I don't care if it's a Polish. I don't eat Polish, but hot dogs, even delicious, affordable food. And even when I go to
Yeah.
Chicago, I'll have 2-3 beefs in a week like a goddamn animal because the mindset is I'm not going to be able to get it again. Or now I can get it
For a
in
while.
Florida.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of times when we go to certain places, we eat excessively because we think we're not going to have it again, or it's all
Oh,
this
all the
kind of
time.
shit all the time. I mean, even it could be local, and we'll be like, "Who the hell knows when the next time I'm going to go to Best of Juan?" When Best of Juan Pizza, in Cardiff, was
Right there, yeah.
it's only 15 miles away, but you're like, "Who knows? So let me get a large." Right? It's like, all right.
Do you really need all that? Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, and then I'm a Best of Juan Pizza. I got to go to VJ, right, for the donuts because the
Oh yeah,
donuts
yeah,
are
yeah.
there. So I'm picking up,
VG's.
VG's,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to pick up a dozen donuts there. Before you know it, I go, well, if I'm here, I might as well go to Little Italy. I'm so close. I got to pick up a bunch of lunch meat here. Like in my
Yeah.
mindset, that's how makes me feel good and comfortable, and I love bringing food to people. And I think a
Right.
lot of people have to acknowledge that food it's our life, it's our family, it's whatever. So.
Yeah.
All right, brother. We don't have to go on and on. I'm
Yeah.
going to wrap this damn thing up. You got anything else to talk about regarding food, you fat
No,
bastard?
no, no, no. No. It's just it's a mentality. It's a lifestyle you have to accept. If you're not gonna do it, you have to look at it realistically. I think just understand where you want to be and make a calculation of what you're willing to. I don't think really sacrifice, but what you're willing to change to achieve that. That's all I would say. And I think for the first time in my life, I'm at a place where I can kind of understand where I want to be and what it's going to take to get there. So
Yeah, and you're
I'm
young.
happy.
You're young.
Relatively.
The one thing I was thinking about, because they came out with that new picture of Adele yesterday again, and they showed a little picture of her losing weight. It was quite interesting because a lot of people, they shamed her when she was heavy, and we discussed it, and then they're shaming her when
Yeah.
she's thin. What in the hell has society became when you fat shame, you thin shame? You're getting, I don't know if she's healthier or not. I don't know how she went about it, but would you want
Yeah.
somebody to be more healthier? I mean, if you
My
say
wife,
yeah, right. If you say she's pretty
we were
now,
talking
does
about
that
this.
mean she's
Yeah.
ugly then? No, I think Adele was very beautiful then. She's beautiful now, but the point being is the world lost its mind? I mean, it's really,
Totally.
I think a lot of people getting in shape, you want to almost frown upon because
Yeah.
making it sound like, oh, you weren't happy with yourself before. Well, you didn't know what she felt like. And it doesn't even have to do
Yeah.
with publicity. I'm saying maybe she just
Yeah.
didn't want to be heavy anymore as she got older. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, my wife and I were talking about the whole Adele thing is because, like, look, was she heavy set before? Sure. Maybe she had a really hard life that made her sing that amazing music, right? You never know. But then she made a positive choice to get healthier, and you're going to come down on her because guess what? You couldn't do that yourself. Like, let's be honest. Most of the people say you can be a certain weight or anything like that, and it's okay. No, it's not, because at a certain point you have to understand you're gonna die. Like you can't
Or
be
you're going
like,
to end up with
I'm 400.
diabetes, or you're going to end up with heart
Right.
issues, right? I mean, not
I mean,
always. Some people are heavy
right.
set and live long, but it's the personal individual's choice.
Correct. But
You
as a
know,
society, are we going to say it's okay? Because we have to understand, like, I'm heaviest I've been in, I'm 300 pounds, and I
wait, how
can
much are you
admittedly,
right
I can
now? How
still,
much did you just say you were?
I'm now like 305 because I was
Okay,
312. I've
gotcha.
lost like seven
Good
or eight
job.
pounds.
Okay.
Thanks. But yeah, I was gonna say, like, I can still go out there and still do stuff with my kids. I'm still very active, even though I'm a big guy. I can still go lift stuff. I can still go do
Right.
whatever. And I'm not like limited. But I myself understand that, there's a point when a model or a guy who's 400 pounds, and we're like, be proud of who you are. That's absolutely right. Intrinsically, like, who you are as a person. But at the same time, we shouldn't like acknowledge that being that amount of weight is going to be a healthy thing for you, right? Because we just like look up the positivity, and we completely like don't look at how being that is going to be bad for you, we just live in this idyllic way of like, yes, let's accept only one part of what is good, and let's go ahead and toss away most of this situation that is bad. And I
Right.
think that's what happened with Adele. Like, good for her. I think anyone who's been in a position secretly underlying, everyone's like you said, they're jealous, right? They're like, oh my God,
Or they're insecure.
that girl.
I mean, it's the
They are
insecurity.
insecure.
Did you like her because
Yeah.
she was heavy and because she could sing, or do you like her just because she could sing, or now you don't like her because she's thin and can sing? Like, people have lost their
I don't even
minds. I
know.
mean,
They
people.
have lost their mind.
I have a
I
close
mean,
buddy of mine, Locke, who's
yeah,
bigger. He owns one of the best
yeah,
gyms in Chicago, boxing gyms.
yeah,
He can run unbelievable. He'll outbox. He'll do 10 rounds. Like,
yeah,
if you looked at him, you don't necessarily think that of him. And
right,
he always body shames himself. He's like, I'm a fat. I'm this. I'm like, Jim, you're in amazing shape. You look great, I think. But to him,
yeah,
he's out of shape, and he thinks he looks. I'm like,
yeah,
no, it's actually. I think you look great. So it
yeah,
is funny how we perceive ourselves, and how, like we discussed at the beginning, how we do judge each other. But
right.
if we're
Right.
at a point in life or in society where we're shaming people for trying to live a healthier lifestyle, then I think we've really lost our minds. I really
I
do.
think we have.
Yeah,
I
I do
agree
too.
with
Because
that.
no matter what anyone does, there's a problem. If you get too fit, you're insecure and you're doing it for attention. If you get too
Right.
heavy, you know what I mean? You're obese, and you shouldn't. You don't care about anybody, your family members, because now you could die of a heart attack. You got problems there. There's always a goddamn problem. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
anyways,
I
so
think. I think also it's also how much you allow into your mind. People forget that your mind is like a sponge, right? And it can only hold so much. And if you're constantly allowing yourself to be around these people that are just constantly, like, people always make fun of the liberal left or the far right, whatever. I've detached myself. I'm very politically minded, but I detach myself from a lot of stuff right now. People realize that if you absorb so many of those negative ideas from either right or left, you're going to be towards one extreme, right? You as your person, just like the food you eat, your mind has to be. You have to moderate the content that goes into your mind, right? For me, it was cutting off social media because I knew that I'm very politically engaged and I read a lot. So when people say something about Trump or whatever, my mind is, no, I know that's wrong. Let me prove you wrong. So for me, it was a bad idea to be on social media because I knew that I wanted to
It
make
wasn't
that
helping
person
you.
who
Right.
it wasn't helping me, right? So
No, the
I
reality of a
decided,
lot
well,
of this is just negativity. Either way,
exactly.
right?
Either it could be the food you eat, or it could be what you watch through your eyes, or what you can hear. And I noticed that when it comes to stuff like Adele and stuff like that, we can't have an actual subjective opinion that's our own. We have to emulate someone else's opinion. We can't look at her and be like, "Hey, great job, Adele. Adele, you sing amazing. That's amazing for you. I'm happy for you."
Yeah.
But because of all the other BS around us, we have to take those other perspectives. We have to now send it through our head and project something that's not really ours. I think deep down, if you ask most people, they would be very happy for Adele.
Yeah.
They
I
won't.
would
They won't
too.
go, oh, and most people wouldn't go, oh, you lost weight. Or, why aren't you happy in your own skin? Like who would think that? No one would think that. Only very insecure, stupid people would think that, right? And I'm not well, sorry if you're listening in and I'm calling you stupid. I don't mean that. I mean that I think it's a very negative, dark place that you're in to come up with an idea like that. You should. At the end of the
I
day,
think the bottom line is people need to worry more about themselves than others.
for sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's the reality. I think
I
more
got.
people
Yeah,
more people are interested in venting about others than really taking in their
for
own
sure.
health issues than anything
Yeah.
else,
I'm
right? I'm
guilt.
just saying.
I'm guilty of that. Yeah, I'm guilty of that too. Though I have to say, I have ideas that probably are not healthy, but that's why we can't form our own opinions on anything because we gravitate towards things that satisfy our opinion rather than creating our own. So, anyways,
All right, brother, I'm
I
going to
just
wrap
try.
it up there. Thank you for
Yeah,
coming on
man.
here and taking an honest approach on this because it wouldn't have been easy for me kind of going back and forth with somebody else that I know is at a point in their life where they're at their heaviest, right? Because like I said, most of
Yeah,
them I'm at where they're their thinnest or where they actually feel very good about themselves. I'm not saying you don't
yeah.
feel good about yourself, but
No. I understand.
I know exactly what you're kind of going through sometimes. And I went through it
Yeah.
as well. And it's just great to have somebody to bounce off of regarding that subject. And
Likewise, brother.
yeah. All right. I will see you
Yeah.
in San Diego soon, my friend.
I look forward to it. And
All right.
we can moderately eat some Italian food.
Not getting ridiculous. We're going to eat like animals. We're talking all
Awesome,
portion
man.
control. I'm going to have lasagna. We're going to have the subs. We're going to,
Oh,
oh my
the
God.
prosciutto. I look forward to it. Oh my
Yeah,
god. All
domestic
right, man.
imported. We get crazy over there. All right,
So
brother.
good.
All
So
right.
good.
I'll talk to you
All right, man.
later.
I'll see you later.
All right.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye bye.